All right, well, President Trump has been touting a lot of successes on Twitter this morning, tweeting that ISIS is on the run and will soon be wiped out of Syria and Iraq. Illegal border crossings are way down, 75%, and MS-13 gangs are being removed. To the guy in charge of cracking down on MS-13, all illegal immigrants, in fact, the acting ICE director, Thomas Homan. Director, very good to have you. Thank you for coming.
And thank you for having me.
Much is made of, cracking down on illegals and all that. We understand, and we can see the clear numbers. But the MS-13, that's a whole nother, can of fish. And what's interesting about that is how the president immediately addressed that on a like scale with illegals. What did you make of that? And probably with your help.
Well, look, the MS-13 gang is one of the most violent gangs in the world. And they're in this country acting with impunity that they can do what they want and victimize the citizens of this country. So we prioritize the action on MS-13. Both sides of the ICE house, whether it's enforcement, move operations, deportation officers, or special agents, we're going to double down our efforts on MS-13. We're going to tackle them from two different angles. If they can face criminal charges, we'll arrest them and charge them with criminal charges, and we'll make sure they serve their time in prison or jail. On the other side, if they're in the country illegally, when they're done with those prison sentences, we're going to get them out of this country back where they belong.
Still on MS-13 gangs and arrest, Director, one thing that surprises me is how virulent and pervasive and widespread they become, not just in places like California where you could see it and we had the first reports, but nationwide now. What happened?
Well, our intelligence show they're in over 40 states across the country. They spread. It's a criminal syndicate. These MS-13 gang members are involved in all sort of criminal activity, whether it's prostitution, sex trafficking, drugs, firearms. And they victimize the very communities they live in. So, they've spread, and they've got our attention. They've got law enforcement attentions all across the country. And we're coming after them. We're coming after them very hard.
All right, so you don't distinguish between them, right? In other words, the idea behind the Trump approach is keep all bad guys out, right? But what do you do to the ones who are here?
Well, look, we prioritize what we do, those that are a threat to public safety or national security. We're always going to prioritize those. But what President Trump has done, President Trump, when he signed the executive orders, he basically told the Border Patrol agents and the 20,000 American patriots that work for ICE, you can now do your job. You will enforce laws on your books. There's no population of alien that's off the table anymore. And we've been waiting on that for almost a decade now. So, I made it clear, when you enter this country illegally, you have committed a crime. And you can't want to be a part of this country and not respect his laws. So those who enter the country illegally, you may get past the Border Patrol, and in the past you had this feeling that, okay, I'm home free, I got by the Border Patrol and no one's looking for me. Well, those days are over. We're looking for you. We're going to prioritize what we do, but we're going to enforce the law without apology.
Do you feel that you run into, not only the sanctuary cities, but even states that refuse to share records with you or the administration for fear that it will lead to a federal free-for-all to go after their people? I mean, it gets to the point where states, individual communities are fighting you at doing your job.
I've been doing this job almost 34 years, and sanctuary cities, in my opinion, they're un-American. That's not the America I grew up in. For a city or a state to choose to shield somebody that's in this country illegally, and let's talk about the criminal aliens that are in county jails. For places like San Francisco, Chicago, one of the biggest crime rates they've ever had, right? Are they doing everything they can to stop the crime in Chicago? Absolutely not. Because if you're an illegal alien that gets arrested and booked in Cook County, my officers aren't even allowed access to that jail. They're not allowed information from that jail. So that criminal alien is going to hit the street again, and recidivism rate...
You can't even go there? I mean, don't you have jurisdiction, though? I mean, and you're ahead of them, right?
No, sir, we cannot enter Cook County Jail, and that is why the legislative proposals that were introduced by Chairman Goodlatte, the Cates Law and the Sanctuary City Law, is so important. We have to make these people cooperate with us. It's a community safety issue. For every criminal alien that's a public safety threat that I can arrest in the safety, security, and privacy of county jail, one of the fine men and women that work for ICE have to go knock on the door. It's an officer safety issue. It's a community safety issue. Enough's enough with sanctuary cities. You know what happens, Director? It's framed as being racist, or it's framed as more protection for people who are legal who shouldn't be here than protecting the legal Americans who should be looked after here. How did that, I know I'm just saying something very simplistic here, how did that evolve to what it's become? It's liberal judges. It's like I said, it's not the America I grew up in. Just last night we got a decision from a judge on a bunch of Iraqi Christians that we arrested up in Detroit, all these significant public safety threats, convicted of murder, rape, child molestation, and all of a sudden now they got to stay while they're looking at the case, should they be returned to Iraq because they may be in danger of being persecuted in Iraq. Meanwhile, the safety and the well-being of American citizens who are at threat from these criminal aliens, they're put in the back seat, and we got to change the way we're doing business. I mean, we need to protect this country. We're a sovereign country. We have a right to decide who comes in this country. We need to enforce the laws, and this president has allowed us to do that. And since he's allowed us to do this, the border crossings are at an all-time low. Interior arrests are up 40% in last year. The policy, you may not like this president, you may not like the policies. You cannot argue with the results of these policies. We're having a strong determination by men and women that step up every day and put their lives on line for this country. It's about time. It's long past due.
Director Homan, thank you very much for taking the time. We appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, sir.